Alright, welcome back to More Than Peaches Gaming. I'm your host, Mune, and unless you've been living under a rock with the gaming industry and the recent events in the last day or so, uh, the Switch 2 has sold out. And for many of us, we went to the websites during the period of time in which the pre-orders were supposed to be available, uh, or maybe you were one that decided to wait until the following day to go to like GameStop's website or go there in person. Uh, my condolences for anybody who did not acquire one. This has been an ongoing issue with video games industry in general, and I myself have been kind of a victim of it for a few times. You know, uh, and I've seen it happen firsthand way too many times. Okay, this is not anything new, but you would think the companies would learn. Okay, and this is just kind of going over my experience of what did happen. Okay, for me, my experience may have resonated with other people. I got in line. I loaded up, you know, Walmart's website where we were going for the bundle. I got in line, uh, their online line. I went to Target, added stuff to my cart. I didn't pull up GameStop because there was no need for it, but I kind of kept that mental note there. And so because Walmart was put me into a line and Target didn't, I let the line stay there and I tried to do the checkout process with Target. My process was absolutely atrocious. So first I logged in preemptively, okay? Like before anything went live, made sure everything was correct. My address, make sure my payment method was up to date. You know, my shipping address was right. And I go, I'm already logged in, and I go and try to check out. And the first thing that it does is, hey, we need to verify your shipping address. Okay, fine, whatever. I know I updated it earlier in the day. Whatever. Please verify your payment method. Okay, did all that. Something went wrong. I tried to check out. Something went wrong. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with my payment method. I'll switch it to PayPal. It'll be a piece of cake. PayPal can't be used to pay for this item. Okay, switched back over to my card, make sure everything was right. Tried again. No such luck. Tried to go grab the non-Mario Kart bundle. Maybe it just sold out. Okay. At about this point, pre-orders have been open for maybe 5-10 minutes. Okay. Try to do that. Try to check out. There's an issue. There's an issue. And I kept refreshing it, trying to get it to go. Nothing was going. I don't know what was going on. Okay. Uh, who knows? It could have been something as limited as my pop-up blocker was blocking something. I don't know. We don't know the specifics. I'm waiting over here. I'm like, okay. And I'm waiting and waiting, and nothing seems to be loading. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Um, so I'm like, all right, well, Walmart's still in the queue. I pull up Best Buy. Okay, they have a queue system too. It says don't leave this page. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. I kept on switching over, seeing other people been having issues, have been successful, so forth. What ended up happening though is eventually Target just simply, one of the times I refreshed, they emptied my cart entirely. The item was sold out. I was SOL. Not exactly a great experience. So I was like, whatever. Target's not going to be the one. I'm sorry, Target. He's just not doing so well. All right. So my heart was really set on, well, got Walmart and I got Best Buy. Well, been sitting in the Walmart queue for, oh God, I think it was about 45 minutes. And it finally loads, ready to go, and they say they're sold out. So I waited in the queue for 45 minutes for them to tell me it's not available. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I left the queue open for Best Buy, not thinking anything of it other than they're going to be sold out too. This sucks. I absolutely hate this. I was ranting to some people I know, like relatives. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. I came prepared. I was ready to go. And this is what's happening. I'm not going to get it. Mentality also was running through my mind is GameStop is tomorrow. I work. I work a full-time job. I work from like 9 to 5. You know, GameStop's a little bit too far away. I don't have time to wait in the line. I could try to use their app or their website. I didn't want to resort to that. Well, luckily for me, after about, I think it was almost an hour waiting in, well, yeah, a little over an hour waiting in this queue for Best Buy, it allowed me to finally obtain a copy of the Mario Kart World Bundle. And I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, I got one. I finally got one. Thank goodness. But my brain started going through. One of my friends also said that they wanted one. And if I can get another one, it doesn't necessarily have to be for this friend. It could be for family. Uh, and this includes other people. Maybe they wanted one for their significant other. Maybe for like one for them, one for their kids. Who knows? Or they wanted to gift it to other people in their family. I don't know how much that is a thing, but who knows? All right. My mentality was, oh, this is great. This is great. Um, at least I got one. Let's try tomorrow. Maybe if we're not too busy at work, maybe I can log on their website and give it a shot. Well, GameStop's website. I don't know if anybody was paying attention to it. Their website basically took a massive crap. I don't mean it in a light way. I mean when I went to it at exactly the time that they said, it was there was never a point where this was not grayed out as a not available. I cannot click on it. It was not available. Period. I kept refreshing, trying to get it to work. Just I couldn't do anything with it at all. I was really bummed out, okay? Mainly because, as you see here, pros earn 10,000 points. I'm a pro member, okay? That'd be nice to have, you know, which is like, it's like 10 bucks. So you save like 10 bucks. It's not really saving because you don't really save it off the initial price, but you get $10 in points, basically. I was like, all right, great. Um, this isn't working. And unfortunately, work was not slow. It was busy. I tried to get in periodically, just trying my best, and just was unable to navigate their site. So, of course, my mentality was maybe after work I'll go to local GameStop and ask them. Well, local GameStop, oh my god, great GameStop, mind you. The employee there was absolutely amazing, but they said, well, we sold out fairly quickly with people that were in line. The line was there. It was down to past the store, past I think it was like three other businesses, and starting to go around the corner. They guessed that there was probably 100 plus people in it. So And they sold out fairly quickly, but that didn't stop people from coming in throughout the day or people calling asking if they have any pre-orders. The simplest answer was no, they didn't have any. They were gone. But this got me thinking, okay, who's buying all these? Who bought up all of these systems? Well, there's people like me who want it from themselves, want it to play by ourselves. There are those that bought it for their family and friends. But there's also those who bought it for a profit. Okay? And if you guys look on eBay right now, there are quite a few. And they're selling. Okay? That's the part that you have to understand. When the Nintendo Switch console was initially announced and they did the direct, there was a major complaint that the system is too expensive. The games are too expensive. All right? These guys were really loud, very much saying, hey, lower the price, lower the price, lower the price. However, we see that it's selling out. We saw that it's selling out like crazy. We don't know how many of those were bots, scalpers, or the like, but we know that if you go to other sites like eBay, eBay selling Nintendo Switch 2 consoles for pre-orders, and those are going from anywhere from the initial price of $450. It's $449.99, all the way up to like 700 and like I think $50. I don't know if they're quite that high, but I think that's the high end. I think I saw some selling for 725. So just kind of keep in mind that if you really want one of these, you can always go to eBay. However, that's also feeding the people who initially basically helped cause the sites not to load properly. And were buying up systems that they themselves were not going to use. So it's a profit margin with them. Likewise, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, make sure you read your goddamn listings on eBay. Okay? This is a word of caution to everybody who does not want to be scammed, to people who are behesting the system. Okay? And what I mean is, if you see a Switch and it's $450 or even $500 or maybe even $550, you probably shouldn't buy it. You should probably look at the description very much first and make sure it is actually the console. Okay? I've seen sold listings on eBay, and I don't mean, oh, this one guy fell for it. I mean, literally, several people fell for it where they bought a picture of the Nintendo Switch instead of the console. They're like, yeah, I got a screenshot of my pre-order. Yeah. Oh, I got a screenshot from my pre-order from Walmart or Target or Best Buy or Gamestop. And they're selling them on there for $450 to $500. So kind of keep an eye out that, read the descriptions, make sure it's indeed everything that you want before you buy. So this is more of a buyer beware kind of thing. Make sure it's exactly what you want. I don't say, hey, you should buy them from them, but if you're that desperate, I mean, that is an option. Otherwise, we don't know when they're going to get restocks. Okay? And the way that Nintendo has recently announced, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, there's a lot of talk about it, but Nintendo's following up with, you know, there might be some available in stores, But they recently came out with an announcement where they said, hey, the people who wanted to be on our list for our own website, well, we might not have enough consoles for you on launch. So they might get it a week later. They might get it a month later. We don't know. It might even be months until they actually have a restock. And it depends on a lot of different factors. It depends on if we have any tariffs, if we have any supply issues. That means if something goes wrong with any of the production, facilities that make any of the components to the Switch or any parts whatsoever, that can cause an issue. Um, so kind of keep that in mind. Or maybe Nintendo will reevaluate their pricing plan because I don't know if you guys have ever looked at business, but business concept when you're selling goods or services, especially goods, is that if you sell out, you underestimated the market and you didn't make enough. You don't have enough items to sell. Okay? It's only when you have stock left over that you know that you have done a good job of gauging the market, figuring out exactly what your sales should be. And the easiest way to fix that, if you have a limited supply, like a Nintendo Switch 2, is that you generally are supposed to raise your price. That way, there are still some available, and it deters people with less money who would otherwise buy it at the cheaper rate. However, on the flip side of that, it's really bad for a company to do that. It's basically price gouging, knowing exactly how to go about that. So it's a weird method of figuring out that nice medium. And there was a big fear when this was announced that nobody was going to buy the system. It's too expensive. But I don't know. It seems like the the internet and people have spoken more or less. This entire pre-order process was a giant shit show. I was not a big fan of it. I wish there was a better method. I tried to access Walmart's website from a different browser, but I got stuck in "Are you a human or a robot?" thing. And hold the button down. Okay, great. Loading, loading, loading. Proves you to us that you're a human through the same test by holding my click. All right, get through that. Oh, we need to check to see if you're a human or a robot. I'm like, seriously? So I went through that test probably like 5 times before I was just like, I'm just gonna close this browser. This isn't working. It was terrible. Um, I don't ever recommend it, but at least it looks like both Walmart and Best Buy really put in the extra effort with their lines. Okay, they at least seem to try. Um, so in this entire process of ordering, I'm definitely saying those two retailers knew what they were doing. I feel like Best Buy did a better job, honestly. But I know some people ha- did not have the same experience. Okay, it was quite opposite of what I did. They had better luck at Walmart. So I'm just gonna say they were the true winners. However, the losers are definitely GameStop, their website specifically, and Target. I think Target just loses entirely because theirs was probably the worst. Okay, they had the online only, and it failed so many people. I don't think I even saw any comments about anybody successfully ordering through Target. So makes me wonder if anybody actually did get through Target as a person and not a bot. So, but I'm still saying kudos to GameStop. I would definitely give them a hard second place. for having the in-person option, though that in-person option isn't always favorable to people who, well, work during the day. Uh, it is unfortunate that they did it that way. I feel like there should be a better method. Okay. And I like Nintendo's approach. Okay. For on their website was basically trying to get people who have a record of playing for 50 hours or more on their system, having their online service. I know they require you to be like the one paying for it, which is kind of an irritation. But I mean, it's a way to see that people aren't just gonna leave their systems on and aren't gonna really play them. Okay. Um, the the third thing that they had was you had to opt in for like some kind of uh, sharing. I'm not really too sure what all that was, and I was like, oh, I okay, whatever. And that was basically all you had to meet. Okay, I wish we had a little bit more of that rather than lines or failed websites trying to say, hey, you could buy this now, and then like they don't work or they put you on a line or whatever. Or worse yet, they crash. So I'm hoping that this all works out well and that the Nintendo Switch is a good system and that we all can enjoy it together eventually. Um, I know a lot of us are going to be, how do I put it, the lucky ones, and some of us will be, well, the ones that missed out. So I'm sorry for everybody who missed out on getting a pre order. Best of luck getting one, hopefully, in the coming months. Um, Congratulations for everybody who did get a system. And if you have any other experiences about how you went through this process, whether you got it or not, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.